Receiving isn't just, okay, my cups overflow.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus says that I can give you living water that overflows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to just be contained. It's actually meant to spill over into others.
Yeah. Have you had your daily drip? Welcome to the Daily Drip podcast, where we create kingdom content that builds community. Adam is back in the building.
In the house. We dripping again.
You dripping? You
jumping.
stay dripping.
Yeah. I thought about coming in here right after a shower without drying off, just so I could be extra themed out, being drippy. Or if today was a rainy day.
Because it's 2024. You've been in the gym.
I have been, man. I've been, been doing my thing.
We're gonna have to max bench press soon again.
Yeah, we got to revisit now and not after I was preaching a sermon for a whole weekend straight.
If you're new to the community, here's the situation. It was Sunday after church. Both of us are tired. He was more tired than me because he had preached.
And don't say both of us were tired.
I was tired. I was serving God. So what ends up happening is we're chilling, we're eating, we're watching TV, dozing off, and he says, "You know what would be a great idea?" I was like, "What's up?" "Let's have a max bench press contest right now." I'm like, "What?"
Well, really, it was against my oldest brother Nathan, who works out every day. And he always tries to act like he's like stronger than me, and I haven't worked out in like 4 years. And I was like, "Man, I'll still beat you up." And he's like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "Let's get everybody get in the gym. Everybody getting this right now. Let's get in the gym." Yeah. But I severely underestimated how fatigued I was.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we still had it down. We both beat Nathan, so I'm happy about that.
I think you underestimated like my strength though, because I've been on that push-up game.
Yeah, it was strong. It was impressive. It was very impressive.
Well, hey, we're going to get to it. We're going to squeeze that script for the daily drip. We've been in Philippians all year. We only got like 2 more drips of Philippians left. And then I got to have Adam back on when we get in Ecclesiastes. That's what we're doing next.
The Ecclesiasticals?
Yeah, the Ecclesiasticals. So like Philippians 4:14 through 20 is where we're at. The drip for today is receive.
Okay.
You've received a lot of honor so far, by the way.
Yeah.
Lead pastor.
Yes,
transition celebration.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
A few weeks ago. It was very nice.
Love it.
All right. Beautiful time.
Let's get it. Yet it was kind of you to share my trouble. And you Philippians yourself know that in the beginning of the gospel, when I left Macedonia, no church entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving except only you. Even in Thessalonica, you sent me help for my needs once and again. Not that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that increases to your credit. I have received full payment and more. I am well supplied, having received from Epaphroditus the gifts you sent, a fragrant offering, a sacrifice acceptable and pleasing to God. And my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches and glory in Christ. To our God and Father be glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Receive.
Yeah.
What's up?
I mean, I love what Paul's saying because, Acts 20, I think 35 says it's better to give than it is to receive. Mm-hmm. And I think that's in the same step. But I also think if you really paid attention to that passage, it's really easy to get caught up with how much people don't give you. Because that's what the Apostle Paul says. Yeah. He says, "Man, everybody else rejected me. Mm-hmm. No one else." Mm-hmm. You remember with the Apostle Paul, like he was the persecutor of the Christian church. He was the Adolf Hitler of Christianity. Yeah. And if you just put yourself in World War II shoes, just imagine one day Adolf Hitler wakes up and he's like, "Actually, let's shut all the camps down. I want to embrace the Jews." I mean, everybody would be like, they'd be so skeptical of that. Sure, Nobody would believe that. Yeah. And that was Paul. Like he was that guy. Mm-hmm. And so as he's doing his ministry, almost nobody would receive him as an apostle, which meant that he walked with Jesus for the 3 years of his ministry, which Jesus did it with him through isolation. That's where he taught Paul. And he was an apostle. He was a representative. He was called to the Gentile church. Mm-hmm. And, he says, nobody received me. Yeah. Except for you guys. Yeah. You guys are the one church that not only you received me, you looked after me.
Yeah.
You were gifting me. You were gifting, and it more than likely is for the expansion of the gospel.
Yeah.
And so what he's talking about is this idea, like, it's so easy. We could every day we could make a list about how much people haven't done for us, how many people have quit on us, failed us, shut us out. Or we could be like the Apostle Paul and pull out that narrow view that we have and just say, let me reflect for a second on who has looked after me.
Yeah.
Who has been a beneficial. A lot of times we'll say, nobody's been there for me. It's like, really?
Yeah.
You know, and the past couple months I was in a situation with someone like that who was like, you know, nobody did anything for me, and they had a lot of hate towards God. God hasn't looked after me. And when I just thought about it and I called that individual, I was like, man, you've had people that have like helped babysit your kids.
Yeah.
You have had people that have like helped you with your car payment over the past couple years. Like you have had people that have called. You know how many people are out there that don't get calls from people checking in on them?
Yeah.
Like you almost had a call a week from some. And then but the view, they looked at everything that went wrong without looking at where has God been in all this. And there always is a breadcrumb of grace that you can find where God has been faithful. And I feel as though that's what the Apostle Paul is doing in this letter.
Yeah, and I love what you're talking about because that's the mission of this podcast is community. So what you're talking about is you reminding someone in your community how good God has been and how good some community members have been. But when we isolate ourselves, we can run plays in our own mind. I'm not receiving nothing from no one, so nobody's going to receive something from me type situation.
Yeah.
So I've strived to live by this principle, man's rejection is God's redirection. So there could have been people at your transition celebration when all these people are celebrating what God's doing in your life. You could have thought about, but this person ain't here.
Yeah.
And this person ain't here. Or you could be like, wow.
Yeah.
30 years of ministry.
Yeah.
My dad is trusting me. God is trusting me. That I'm going to receive this, but also to much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
So as you're receiving this, now you have the perspective of how can I help others receive different things that God has for them.
Yeah. And that's the opportunity. Like you take Paul's relationship and his leverage, and when you read this epistle as we've been doing since January, you see him consistently building up the church that this epistle's for in Philippi. You see him building up Aphrodites.
Yes.
You see him building up and commending people's obedience.
Yeah.
And so as the Apostle Paul clearly has the grace and favor of God, he's not surcharging that and consuming it all for himself.
For sure.
He's passing that off. And so, I think in order to receive, you have to receive open-handed. But a lot of times we want to receive like this. We close it. We put it in our pocket. We open up our hands. It's like what my son does when he tries to trick me and he asks for a piece of candy or muffins. And then he puts the candy in his pocket and he goes to mom and goes like, hey, mom, can I have a candy? And then she's like, have you eaten a candy? And he's like, no, I haven't. When really, because he's been tricky, he hasn't eaten a candy, but he pocketed one, and he's trying to double up. He wants a double blessing, and that's what we do all the time.
Well, that's what Trinity did to me today. She was like, Dad, I want to be the director of the podcast, so I'm going to pull out all your outfits. So she pulled out this outfit. I probably wouldn't have.
Top ramen outfit?
Yeah, I probably would, but I'm a dad more than a podcaster.
Yeah.
So then I said, well, then you iron the shirt. So that's why if it's a little wrinkled, Trinity did it, our producer. But as soon,
our 9-year-old producer.
But as soon as she finished ironing, she was like, now can you pay me for this?
Wow. She had a setup fee. Yeah. It's like when you go somewhere and they throw that tip iPad around and you're like, you didn't do nothing.
Oh,
when
they just swivel it right around. Like community, tell me
they
what
don't
you
do that
think.
over
You're
at
you're at the kiosk.
Thirsty
and it's,
Girl.
I'll tip Thirsty Girl because like they're in my community.
Yeah, you have to.
But not from the principle of just somebody ringing me up. Like, come on. But I love what Paul says right here. I have received.
I'll be like, here's a tip. Stop using paper straws. Here's a tip. If I go to one more place that gives me a paper straw, bro, I'm gonna lose it.
See, that's why I love.
It makes your drink warm. You ever notice that? It warms your drink super fast.
No,
when it's paper.
I get afraid that the
I'm sorry. This is
No, no,
beyond the
no,
letter.
no.
This is Christian. This is a Christian podcast.
No.
We're supposed to talk about the Lord the whole time.
But I
Talk about
get
real life.
nervous about the paper straws that they're gonna like wither and it'll
Oh,
be like
yeah.
pulp in like my coffee. Like that's
I
why
got a
get
smoothie
afraid.
the other day. I literally in the airport. I threw it away. I was so hungry. Pinkberry. It was a little pinkberry, which I didn't even know they existed anymore. And I'm like, let me get a smoothie. I'm so hungry. And they give me this warm straw that I feel like it had just been casted, because you drink the smoothie and you're like, it's not even cold. It's like warm milk.
We're gonna get back to the Bible.
Yeah.
We're gonna get back to the daily.
What I need to receive is a plastic straw.
So, in verse 18, Paul says, "I have received full payment and more. I am well supplied, having received from Epaphroditus." This guy's in prison.
Yeah.
So like he has contentment and humility on what he receives. So like what you said, when you have your hands open from God on what you receive, sometimes it's going to be more than what you expect. Sometimes it's going to be less than what you expect. But that contentment will keep you focused on your community when you receive. Because right after that, in verse 19, he said, "I believe God will supply all your needs." What I need is everybody in here to please be quiet. People dropping coins, people dropping like
Going on Instagram.
Okay, but like he says, and my God will supply every need of yours. How can you be in prison thinking about the needs of others? Well, it's when you're content with what you've received.
Yeah. And I think if you just reflect on later passages, last month when we're talking and, Paul's talking about his situation about like, man, I could die today and be with Christ, or I'll stay with you guys for your guys' benefit. I mean, you look at this closing talking about what it means to receive. I mean, he continually, even in his darkest moments where, either of us, if I was in prison, the last thing I'd be thinking about is, hey, are everybody outside? Are you all good?
No, I would be like,
I'm going to send someone else in my replacement while I'm up in this joint. No, I'd be like, y'all better send me money for the commissary.
Send me red vines.
Yes. Someone give me some top ramen. Someone better look after me. Someone slide in a plastic straw in a cake for me so that up in this prison, they don't give me these wood straws. I'd be thinking about me, but all his concern is, I got you. I'm sending you Aphrodites.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. Thank you for your gifts. In other letters, Paul goes, hey man, while I'm gone, don't forget to keep your tithes circulating so that the church doesn't hinder. I mean, he's just continually still thinking about the needs of others. And I think that's when you receive the most from God is when you can actually, as you're receiving, your immediately instinct is, how can I give? How can I give this away? How can I give influence away? How can I give a relationship away? That's like, in the church world, there's two types of pastors. There's a pastor who hoards their relationships, and there's a pastor who gives their relationships away. And I've had friends that were both. I've had friends that have had, celebrities and NFL players go to their church and they'll tell me, hey, if they ask you for your number, don't give it to them because they're mine. They're for my church.
They're mine.
I've had them say that before.
Got it.
And then I've had other pastors that were like, hey, bro, can you help me out? Can you go and I'm going to give you the number to this guy. I don't have enough time to fully to pastor this guy. And this other person has great influence. And to me, like, you just have to decide what type of person you are. Are you a hoarder? Because hoarders think they're receiving, but it's going to come in limited quantities.
I like it.
And whatever you have, you're going to consume it all for yourself, and you're going to consume it fast.
Yeah.
But if you give away, and give as much away, then God can give you more because it's a stream instead of a lake. You're not just collecting, you're actually streaming through. And so receiving isn't just, okay, my cups overflow.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus says that I can give you living water that overflows. It's not meant to just be contained. It's actually meant to spill over into others.
Yeah. So that's our practice for the week. All week, we're going to take an inventory on what we've already received and be grateful for that. Then, based upon what we've received, is there an opportunity to bless others with what we receive? Because in our giving out to others, God can trust us to receive more. So that'll be the drip. That's our practice. And we're going to close by saying, stay dripping, my friends.
Stay drippy. Drip, drip.